The first time the cold Alpha Queen looked at me, the entire room seemed to tilt toward her, as if gravity itself recognized a superior force. She stood at the center of the executive hall in a charcoal suit sharp enough to cut glass, silver blonde hair swept back, expression carved from something colder than marble. People didn't just respect Arden Vale. They recalibrated around her. Conversations lowered. Shoulders straightened. Breaths stalled. And when her steel-grey eyes swept across the line of newly transferred Omega staff, they paused on me. In that pause lived danger. I kept my chin lowered, posture perfect, scent muted beneath layers of suppressants. I had spent 8 years perfecting invisibility. 8 years sanding down anything that might betray who I used to be. Lyra Valthera had died in a fire that swallowed an empire. The girl standing here now was simply Lyra Vance, administrative Omega, background detail, forgettable. But her gaze did not forget. "Step forward," she said. Her voice was not loud. It didn't need to be. Authority threaded through it like steel wire. I obeyed. Up close, she smelled of winter cedar and something electric, like the air before lightning strikes. An alpha scent meant to dominate. To claim space. To command submission. Every Omega instinct in the room leaned toward her. Mine did not. Mine remembered climbing trees with her at 13. Mine remembered ink-stained fingers drafting childish contracts promising we would rule the world together. Mine remembered her laughter before tragedy sharpened it into silence. She did not remember me. Or if she did, she buried it well. "Name," she said. "Lyra," I replied smoothly. A lie practiced until it felt real. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Look at me when you speak." I lifted my gaze. The contact was a collision. For a flicker of a second, something fractured in her composure. Not recognition. Not yet. But curiosity edged with heat. "You're unusually composed," she observed. "I value my position, Your Majesty." A faint murmur rippled at the title. It wasn't official, but everyone called her that in private. The Alpha Queen. The woman who rebuilt Vale Industries from ashes and crushed competitors without blinking. The woman who turned hostile takeovers into art forms. The woman rumored to have no heart left to break. Her mouth curved. "Barely. Do you?" It wasn't a question. She stepped closer, invading the polite distance expected between an alpha and an unclaimed Omega. Gasps fluttered at the edges of the hall. She inhaled slowly, deliberately, testing the air around me. "You suppress heavily," she said. "For professionalism." "For concealment," she corrected. A challenge. I forced calm into my pulse. "Is that a problem?" Silence stretched. Power, distilled into a single moment. Then she reached out and tilted my chin upward with 2 fingers. The gesture was unmistakable. Claiming. "This one," she said to her beta adjutant without breaking eye contact with me, "is under my personal protection." Protection. The polite word. Ownership. The truth beneath it. Shock rippled through the assembly. An alpha of her rank did not single out an Omega publicly unless intent was absolute. I should have trembled. I should have bowed. Instead, I met her gaze evenly, because I knew something she did not. She thought she was choosing a powerless Omega. She did not know she was staking her reputation on the lost heiress of Crescent Dominion. The irony was almost poetic. 8 years ago, Crescent Dominion and Vale Industries were allies, bound by trade agreements and childhood friendship. Then, in one coordinated night of sabotage, both empires burned. My parents were declared dead. So were hers. She emerged as the surviving Vale successor. I vanished entirely. Official records state that Lyra Valthera perished in the Inferno. Official records lie. I survived because a loyal guard smuggled me out through a collapsing east corridor, pressing a blood-stained signet ring into my palm and whispering, "Live quietly. Watch them." I obeyed. I learned. I erased myself. And when whispers surfaced that Arden Vale had consolidated suspicious assets from the ruins of Crescent, I stepped into her kingdom disguised as prey. And now she had just drawn me into her inner circle. Contrast is a ruthless thing. The girl who once braided my hair before strategy lessons now stood as my alpha sovereign. The friend who used to swear she would always stand beside me now towered over me as if I was something fragile. If she discovered the truth too soon, she might see me as a threat. If she never discovered it, she might truly claim me. "Walk with me," she ordered. I fell into step half a pace behind her, the traditional Omega position. Cameras tracked us. Employees pretended not to stare. The glass corridors reflected a striking image: cold ruler and compliant subordinate. Appearances, carefully curated. "Why did you apply here?" she asked as we entered a private lift. "Opportunity." "Be specific." "To be close to power." The corner of her mouth lifted again. "Honest." "Strategic." The doors slid shut, sealing us in mirrored solitude. The air felt tighter without witnesses. "You don't fear me," she said. "I respect you." "That isn't the same." "No," I agreed softly, "it isn't." Her gaze sharpened, searching my face as if chasing a memory she couldn't quite catch. For a heartbeat, I wondered if she saw echoes of the girl who once raced her through moonlit gardens. Then the moment passed. "You belong to me now," she said, not cruelly, simply as fact. Belong. The word should have felt like chains. Instead, it felt like the beginning of a war neither of us understood. Because queens can claim pawns. But this pawn was born a queen. And when the truth surfaced, it would not be submission she found at her side. It would be an equal. The shift was immediate. By the next morning, my desk had been relocated to the executive floor, positioned just outside Arden's private office suite. Glass walls, soundproof doors, controlled access. The heart of power. Staff moved differently here. Quieter, sharper, aware that one misplaced word could end a career. And now I sat at the center of it, the Omega personally chosen by the cold Alpha Queen. Contrast followed me like a shadow. Some looked at me with envy, others with pity. An unclaimed Omega elevated overnight did not inspire neutrality. It inspired speculation. Was I favored? Was I doomed? Was I naive enough to believe protection from an alpha came without cost? They did not know I had walked into the lion's den willingly. Arden's door slid open without warning. "Inside," she said. No greeting. No wasted syllables. I rose and stepped in, the door sealing behind me with a quiet hiss. Her office was minimalist but imposing. Dark wood, steel accents, city skyline stretching endlessly beyond the glass. She stood near the window, hands clasped behind her back, posture impeccable. "Close the blinds," she instructed. I did. The room dimmed, trading panoramic light for privacy. "You've caused unrest," she said. I wasn't aware breathing was insubordination. A flicker of amusement touched her eyes before it vanished. "Your composure borders on defiance. And yet you selected me." She turned fully then, studying me as though I were an equation refusing to balance. Most Omegas lower their gaze when I enter a room. I did. But not quickly enough. There it was again, that subtle pull between us. Familiarity she could not place. A memory pressing at locked doors. "You said I belong to you," I began carefully. "What does that entail?" Her expression cooled, professional mask sliding into place. "It entails safety, influence, access. No one will touch you without answering to me. And in exchange, you will assist me directly, attend meetings, observe, learn." "Learn what?" "How empires are preserved," she replied. "Preserved, not built." Interesting word choice. She moved to her desk and activated a holographic display. Financial structures spiraled into view, subsidiaries, acquisitions, shell companies interwoven like arteries. I recognized some of the names immediately. Fragments of Crescent Dominion hidden beneath layers of rebranding. You've been consolidating defunct territories, I said. I've been restoring imbalance, she corrected. Our eyes met again. Crescent wasn't imbalance, I said evenly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. No, she agreed quietly. It was betrayal. So she did know. Not about me, but about the sabotage. Who betrayed them? I asked. She studied my face, measuring intent. That's not information you need. Yet. The word slipped out before I could soften it. Silence expanded between us, charged and fragile. You speak as if you expect permanence here, she observed. Don't you? Her gaze sharpened. Careful. But there was no real warning behind it. Only tension. A chime interrupted us, her beta adjutant requesting clearance. Arden dismissed it with a gesture. You will accompany me tonight, she said instead. To a private council gathering. Alpha-dominated. Political. An Omega at her side would not be decorative. It would be symbolic. That will send a message, I said. Yes. What message? That you are untouchable. Protection again. Or possession. And what if I don't wish to be untouchable? I asked. She stepped closer, slow and deliberate, until the edge of her desk pressed lightly against my back. Not trapping. Not quite. But close enough to test boundaries. Everyone wishes to be untouchable, she murmured. Not if it costs them autonomy. Her breath caught, barely perceptible. You speak like someone who has lost it before. I held her gaze. Haven't we all? Something moved behind her eyes then. Grief, swift and buried. I lost everything once, she said. I will not lose again. The statement carried weight far heavier than business. You rebuilt quickly, I said. I rebuilt ruthlessly. There was pride there. And pain. And Crescent. I pressed. She stilled. What about it? You kept pieces alive. Her expression shifted from controlled to unreadable. That company mattered. To you? Yes. The admission hung between us. Why? I asked softly. She looked away first, returning to the window as the blinds slowly parted at her command, letting light spill back into the room. Because someone I cared about believed in it, she said. The words struck like a pulse against old scars. And she died, Arden added. Not a question. A conclusion she had forced herself to accept. I swallowed the ache rising in my throat. You're certain? Yes. Certainty built on ashes and incomplete bodies. If she hadn't, I said carefully, what would you have done? Arden turned slowly. I would have given it back. The air left my lungs. Not absorbed. Not dominated. Returned. To her. I whispered. To its rightful heir. Silence followed, thick and trembling. For years I had wondered whether she had taken advantage of our downfall. Whether her consolidation was ambition disguised as rescue. But this was loyalty sharpened into strategy. You're very sure she's gone, I said. Her jaw tightened. Hope is inefficient. And yet you preserved her legacy. A beat. Some inefficiencies are necessary. Contrast again. The ruthless queen who preached efficiency had spent years safeguarding a ghost's inheritance. A knock sounded at the door, more urgent this time. Enter, Arden called. Her adjutant stepped inside. Your Majesty, Director Halvern has requested an unscheduled audience. The name slammed into me like a physical force. Halvern. Architect of the coordinated attacks. The man whose signature authorized asset seizures the night Crescent fell. officially cleared of wrongdoing, quietly elevated within Vale Industries. I kept my expression neutral. Arden's eyes flicked briefly to me, then back to her adjutant. On what grounds? He claims new intelligence regarding former Crescent territories. Of course he did. Arden hesitated only a fraction before nodding. 5 minutes. The adjutant withdrew. When we were alone again, Arden studied me. You went pale. Did I? Yes. I forced steadiness into my voice. Should I know him? Only as a board member. Board member. The fox advising the crown. I'd like to sit in, I said. Her brows lifted slightly. Bold. Useful. She considered me for a long moment, weighing instinct against protocol. Finally, she nodded. Stand beside me. Speak only if addressed. Subordinate position. For now. The door opened again, and Director Halvern entered with practiced humility. Age had softened his frame but not his eyes. They scanned the room, landing briefly on me. And lingering. Recognition flickered there. Danger followed. If he knew, the game accelerated. Arden gestured to the chair opposite her desk. You have 5 minutes. Halvern smiled thinly. I believe what I have will interest both of you. Both. His gaze returned to me. In that instant I understood something crucial. He suspected. And if Arden learned the truth from him instead of me, the contrast between trust and deception would fracture everything. The cold Alpha Queen thought she had claimed an Omega. But the real battle was no longer about possession. It was about revelation. And it had just begun. Halvern did not sit immediately. He preferred to command space the way lesser men borrowed authority from proximity to power. He inclined his head toward Arden with polished respect, then let his gaze drift back to me, slow and deliberate. I wasn't aware you had expanded your inner circle, he said smoothly. I haven't, Arden replied. State your business. His smile tightened almost imperceptibly. He took the seat at last, folding his hands over a slim data tablet. New information has surfaced regarding dormant Crescent assets. Dormant. Not destroyed. My pulse remained steady through years of discipline, but my senses sharpened. Arden's posture shifted by a fraction, attention narrowing like a blade. Continue, she said. Several shell entities we believed extinguished have shown activity in offshore channels. Small movements. Testing liquidity. Arden's expression did not change. And you assume this is significant? I assume, Halvern said carefully, that someone with intimate knowledge of Crescent's pre-collapse structure may be attempting reentry. Silence pressed against the glass walls. Arden's voice cooled further. Crescent's air died. Officially. The word hung like smoke. My heart beat once. Hard. Arden's eyes flicked toward me for less than a second. It was subtle. But Halvern noticed. I find, he continued, that unfinished bloodlines have a habit of resurfacing. You're speculating, Arden said. I'm protecting our interests. Our. As though he had stood beside her in the ashes. Arden leaned back slightly. Provide evidence. Halvern slid the tablet across the desk. Charts illuminated the air, transaction trails, coded authorizations, legacy signatures. One of them made my breath catch internally. A secondary authentication cipher known only to Crescent's executive line. My line. Someone had accessed an old failsafe vault I'd activated 3 months ago to test whether any hostile eyes still monitored it. Halvern's gaze sharpened as he watched for reaction. I see no confirmed heir, Arden said after scanning the projections. Not yet, Halvern replied. But if she lives. She does not, Arden cut in. Conviction. Built on grief. Halvern tilted his head. With respect, Your Majesty, no body was recovered. Arden's jaw tightened. Enough. There it was, the fracture in her composure. He had pushed too far. Halvern rose smoothly. As you wish. I only advise vigilance. Blood remembers power. His eyes slid to me once more. Blood remembers. A message. A warning. A threat. He inclined his head again and exited. The door sealed behind him. Silence detonated. Arden remained still for a long moment, staring at the fading holographic trails. I stayed where I was, hands clasped behind my back, every instinct screaming to speak and every strategy demanding restraint. Finally, she said, "You're shaking." I wasn't. But she was perceptive. "I dislike unfinished threats," I answered. She stood and approached slowly. "You reacted before he mentioned bloodlines." "Careful." "I reacted when he questioned your certainty." Her eyes searched mine. "Explain." "You speak of her as though she mattered deeply. He weaponized that." A long pause. "You're observant," she said quietly. "I listen." "To everything." "Yes." She stepped closer, tension radiating not as dominance, but as something more personal. "Do you believe it?" she asked. "Believe what?" "That a dead empire can breathe again." The question carried layers. Business. Memory. Hope. I held her gaze. Empires don't die easily. And heirs. My throat tightened. They adapt. The air shifted. Something in her expression faltered, like ice cracking under pressure. "You speak as though you know," she murmured. "I know what it is to lose a name," I said softly. Her breath stilled. "You've never told me about your past." "You've never asked." "I'm asking now." There it was. The crossroads. Tell her and risk everything. Stay silent and let Halvern control the narrative. I was born into something powerful, I began carefully. Not a lie. Not yet the whole truth. It was taken in one night. Her eyes darkened with recognition, not of me, but of shared devastation. "And you survived," she said. "Yes." "How?" "Someone loyal refused to let me burn." A flicker of something almost like relief crossed her face, though she didn't know why. "You never tried to reclaim it?" she asked. "Reclaiming requires leverage. And you lack it." I let a faint smile touch my lips. "Do I?" Her gaze dropped briefly to that smile before lifting again. "No," she admitted. The contrast between us felt razor-thin now. Not alpha and omega. Not ruler and subordinate. Two survivors circling the same wound from opposite sides. "I will handle Halvern," she said finally. "Alone?" "Yes." "He's dangerous." Her eyes sharpened. "To you?" "To anyone who underestimates him." She studied me for a long moment. "You speak like someone preparing for war." "I speak like someone who has seen one." Silence again, but softer now. "Tonight's council is postponed," she said abruptly. "You'll remain with me instead." The statement carried more than professional necessity. "Is that an order?" I asked. "It's preference." That word changed the air entirely. A knock interrupted us, her adjutant announcing that Halvern had departed the building. Arden dismissed her and turned back to me. "If there is something I should know," she said carefully, "I expect honesty." The weight of it pressed against my ribs. "You expect it," I echoed. "Yes. Even if it changes how you see me." Her voice lowered. "Especially then." The moment stretched fragile and electric. This was where truth could bloom, or shatter everything. Instead of answering, I reached into the inner pocket of my blazer and withdrew a small object I had carried for 8 years. A signet ring. Crescent-shaped crest etched into obsidian. I held it loosely in my palm, not yet offering it. Arden's eyes locked onto it instantly. Recognition struck like lightning. "That crest," she whispered. My family's, I said quietly. Her breathing changed. I attended a signing ceremony once, she murmured. I was 14. The heiress wore that symbol. She did. Arden's gaze snapped to mine. The world narrowed to a single heartbeat. Where did you get that? She demanded. From someone who died protecting me. Her composure cracked. Lyra's guard, she breathed. I said nothing. Her eyes widened, not fully understanding yet, but standing at the edge of revelation. You couldn't possibly, she began. The door slid open without warning. Halvern stood there again. Uninvited. Smiling. I forgot one detail, he said smoothly. The offshore signature was authenticated with a biometric trace. Arden's fury ignited instantly. You do not enter without clearance. He ignored her. His gaze fixed on me. It matched juvenile records from 8 years ago. Silence detonated. Arden's head turned slowly toward me. Halvern's voice softened into something almost gentle. Welcome back, Heiress. The word fell between us like a blade. Arden looked at the ring in my hand. Then at my face. Understanding flooded in, shock, disbelief, dawning recognition. Lyra, she whispered. Not as a ruler. As a girl who once shared secrets under starlight. This was no longer suspicion. No longer strategy. The truth stood exposed. The cold Alpha Queen had claimed her Omega. But her Omega had never been powerless. And now the lost heiress stood in her office. Unhidden. Unclaimed. Unbowed. Time did not slow. It fractured. Arden's gaze moved over my face as if rewriting every memory she had forced herself to bury. Halvern remained near the doorway, predator patient, savoring the rupture he had engineered. Leave, Arden said, her voice low and lethal. Halvern's smile widened faintly. Your Majesty, I thought transparency. Out. Power rolled off her in a wave that made the glass tremble. For a moment, I saw the Alpha Queen in her purest form, not cold, not strategic, but incandescent with fury. Halvern inclined his head, victory gleaming in his eyes. Of course. He left. The door sealed. Silence followed, vast and suffocating. Arden did not look at the door. She looked only at me. Say it, she whispered. There are moments when truth feels less like liberation and more like stepping off a cliff. My name is Lyra Valthera. The words landed softly, devastatingly. Her breath left her in a shudder. She took one step back as if the floor had shifted beneath her. No, she murmured. I saw the reports. I identified what remained. There was nothing. There wasn't supposed to be, I said. That was the point. Her eyes searched mine desperately, scanning for deception, for resemblance, for proof. You changed, she breathed. So did you. A fragile, broken sound escaped her. Half laugh. Half grief. I buried you, she said. I stood in front of ashes and convinced myself it was mercy to stop looking. I know. Do you? Her voice cracked, anger slicing through sorrow. Do you know what it cost to stop searching? The contrast between us sharpened painfully. I had survived in silence. She had survived in certainty. I didn't disappear by choice, I said quietly. I was taken, hidden, protected by the only guard who remained loyal. He died 3 months later. Her expression shifted again, this time to horror. You were alive, she whispered. Yes. And you never came back. I couldn't. Why? Because whoever orchestrated the attacks was still inside the system. If I resurfaced publicly without leverage, I would have finished what they started. Her jaw tightened. You thought I would let that happen. I didn't know who I could trust. The words hit harder than accusation. She flinched. I rebuilt everything, she said, voice trembling with restrained emotion. I preserved Crescent assets so they wouldn't be devoured. I protected what was yours. I saw. Then why, she demanded, stepping closer, did you let me believe you were dead? Because watching you mourn me was safer than watching you lose me again. But I did not say that. I needed to know who was responsible, I answered instead. And I needed proximity to power. Her eyes darkened. So you came here? Yes. As an Omega? Yes. Her laugh this time was hollow. You let me claim you. I let you underestimate me. The words hung sharp between us. Pain flickered across her face, not at the deception itself, but at the distance it implied. I never underestimated you, she said quietly. You thought I was powerless. I thought you were unprotected. The distinction mattered to her. You positioned yourself beneath me, she continued. Why? Because no one watches the Omega at the Alpha's side as closely as they watch a rival executive. Understanding dawned slowly. You used the claim as camouflage, she said. I used perception. And me. The question was softer than the others. Did I use you? The truth was not simple. I needed access, I admitted. But I didn't anticipate. My voice faltered. Didn't anticipate what? She pressed. That it would still feel like this. The confession shifted something. She stepped closer again, this time not as ruler, not as interrogator. As Arden. What does it feel like? She asked. Like 8 years disappeared every time you look at me, I whispered. Her breath hitched. Silence deepened, not tense now, but raw. You should have told me, she said finally. Yes. I would have stood with you. I know that now. A long pause. Halvern knows, she said. Yes. He'll move quickly. So will I. Her eyes sharpened. What have you done? I triggered a biometric failsafe tied to dormant Crescent holdings. She stared at me. You baited him. I confirmed him. Realization spread across her features. You suspected him from the beginning. Yes. And you didn't tell me. I needed proof. I could have helped you. Or you could have unknowingly warned him. The accusation was subtle but real. She absorbed it without flinching. You still don't fully trust me, she said. Trust, I replied carefully, is rebuilt, not assumed. The truth hurt us both. She moved to her desk, bracing her hands against its surface as she recalibrated. He believes you've resurfaced recklessly, she said after a moment. I have. Her gaze snapped up. What? I allowed the biometric trace to be obvious. You made yourself a target. Yes. Fury ignited again. That was not your decision to make alone. It was the only way to flush him out. He could try to eliminate you. He will. The certainty in my voice unsettled her. And you're prepared for that? She demanded. I've been prepared for 8 years. Silence. Then, slowly, she straightened. No, she said. The single word carried command. You don't get to fight this alone anymore. I held her gaze. You're involved whether you choose to be or not. She stepped around the desk and stopped inches from me. I'm choosing to be. The statement was deliberate. Not obligation. Choice. The contrast from earlier struck hard. Hours ago she had declared I belonged to her. Now she was positioning herself beside me. Halvern thinks he forced revelation, she continued. He believes he destabilized us. Did he? I asked quietly. Her eyes searched mine. Are we destabilized? The question was layered, political and personal. I exhaled slowly. We're recalibrating. A faint, genuine smile touched her lips for the first time since the truth surfaced. That sounds like you, she said. And what does that mean? It means you were always the strategist. Memories flickered between us, childhood debates, imaginary empires mapped across garden stones. You remember, I said softly. I never forgot. Emotion threatened to undo the steadiness I had fought to maintain. We don't have time for this, she added reluctantly. If Halvern suspects fully, he'll accelerate his endgame. Then we accelerate ours. Her gaze sharpened approvingly. Equal footing, she asked. I met her eyes. Equal. A beat passed. Then she extended her hand, not in dominance, in alliance. I looked at it for half a second before taking it. Her grip was firm, warm, real. The cold Alpha Queen had claimed an Omega, but she was now standing with the Heiress of Crescent. Not above, not ahead, beside. And somewhere in the fragile space between power and memory, something far more dangerous than rivalry was reforming. Partnership. Power shifts quietly before it moves loudly. By nightfall, Arden had sealed 3 internal channels, reassigned 2 security leads, and summoned a confidential audit team under the pretense of restructuring dormant assets. To the board, it appeared routine. To Halvern, it would look like caution. But beneath the surface, we were constructing a trap layered in legality and inevitability. I stood beside her in the strategy room, no longer at a half step behind, no longer silent unless addressed. The change was subtle to outsiders, seismic to us. Harvan's strength isn't brute force, I said, studying the projection of interlinked subsidiaries. It's narrative control. He frames outcomes before they happen. Arden glanced at me. Then we alter the narrative. He expects me to act emotionally, to reclaim publicly. You won't. No. Her eyes narrowed slightly. What will you do? I'll let him believe I'm destabilized. A faint approving tilt of her head. And in that instability, he'll attempt consolidation. Exactly. The contrast between past and present hummed beneath every exchange. Once, we had argued over mock kingdoms drawn in chalk. Now we were dissecting real corporate warfare. Crescent's original charter, Arden said, pulling up an archived document. There was a clause about succession through biometric authentication and dual signature activation. Yes. Her gaze flicked toward me. Dual. Yes. Yours and your father's. Yes. Silence stretched. He's dead, she said carefully. Officially. Her breath caught. Lyra. I never saw a body. Hope is inefficient, she had said earlier. Now it flickered in her eyes despite herself. You think he might be alive, she said. I think Halvern needed leverage beyond asset seizure. And that leverage would be control of the surviving Valthera. Understanding settled in. If your father lives, Arden said slowly, Halvern would keep him hidden. As insurance. Against me. Against reclamation. Against everything. The possibility changed the stakes entirely. Arden straightened. Then this is no longer about corporate restoration. It never was. Our eyes met. It was about family. It was about justice. It was about the night everything burned. A secure alert flashed on the table interface. An authorized access attempt. Level 7 archive. Arden's expression hardened instantly. His moving. Let him, I said. The access attempt continued for precisely 12 seconds before being redirected into the mirrored sandbox I had constructed weeks earlier, a convincing digital ghost of Crescent's deepest vault. On the surface, it would appear he'd breached restricted files. In reality, he'd be reading precisely what we wanted him to read. Arden watched the code cascade. You built this before revealing yourself. Yes. You anticipated this confrontation. I survived by anticipating worse. She studied me, not critically, but with something like or edged in sorrow. You shouldn't have had to, she said quietly. No, I agreed. The screen shifted, Harvan's credentials threading through the false vault. He was cautious, masking his trace through layered proxies. Skilled, but not infallible. His searching for succession triggers, Arden observed, and contingency transfers. A file opened within the sandbox. Crescent Emergency Directive, Air Restoration Protocol. Halvern lingered there. He'll interpret that as imminent activation, Arden said. He'll panic. And panic forces action. We didn't have to say what kind. Elimination. Containment. Exposure. Security, she asked. I've already relocated to a controlled residence. Her gaze snapped to mine. Without informing me. I didn't want your protection to appear reactionary. It is reactionary, she said sharply. You are the last confirmed Valthera. And you are the last Vale. The words softened the edge between us. For a moment, silence held. Then her voice lowered. You don't get to decide alone what risks are acceptable. And you don't get to cage me for safety. Fire met ice. Not in opposition. In equilibrium. Her jaw set, but she nodded once. Then we decide together. Agreement felt different now. Earned rather than assumed. Another alert blinked. Halvern had copied encrypted fragments from the sandbox. He took the bait, Arden murmured. Yes. What exactly did you let him see? A staged transfer authorization scheduled for 48 hours from now. Her eyes widened slightly. Public. Conditional. On what? On board recognition of my identity. Understanding dawned fully. You're forcing his hand. He can either challenge my legitimacy openly or attempt removal quietly. And if he chooses removal, I'm counting on it. She went very still. Lyra. He won't move against you directly, I continued calmly. You're too visible. Too powerful. But me. Newly revealed. Emotionally volatile. Symbolic. You are not expendable, she said, voice low and fierce. I'm not positioning myself as expendable. Then what are you positioning yourself as? Proof. The word lingered. If he attempts anything, I said, we document it. We expose the full chain, financial sabotage, coordinated collapse, biometric suppression. Her gaze sharpened further. You believe you can draw him into that level of mistake. I believe he underestimates women he thinks he already defeated. A long pause. Then, unexpectedly, Arden laughed softly. That, she said, has always been his flaw. The room felt different now, not just strategic, but aligned. We'll need external witnesses, she said. Discreet. I have 2 former Crescent legal advisors still unaccounted for in Harvan's restructuring. Her brow lifted. You've been building alliances. I told you. I needed leverage. She studied me again, this time with open admiration. You walked into my empire as an Omega, she said quietly. But you were never beneath me. No, I replied. I was beside you. You just didn't know it. The truth of that settled warmly between us. A final alert blinked. Halvern disconnected. He's preparing, Arden said. So are we. She moved toward the window, looking out over the city lights flickering alive against dusk. When this breaks, she said, it will fracture the board. It will also unify what remains. She turned back to me. And us. The question was softer than strategy warranted. I stepped closer, not as subordinate, not as challenger. As equal. That depends, I said gently. On whether you still think you claimed me. A slow exhale. No, she said. I think we chose each other long before either of us understood power. The words settled like a promise. 48 hours. A staged restoration. A predator cornered. The cold Alpha Queen and the lost Heiress standing side by side. Contrast had defined us. Now it would arm us. The next morning, the city woke to rumors. They moved through financial circles first, whispers of a dormant inheritance stirring, of Crescent Dominion's ghost breathing beneath Vale Industries' foundation. By noon, encrypted threads buzzed across executive networks. By evening, the board had requested an emergency session. Halvern moved faster. At 14:07, an anonymous tip flagged irregular biometric authentication linked to my identity. At 14:32, a private security firm initiated surveillance on my registered residence. At 15:10, an unmarked vehicle began trailing the Vale motorcade. He was escalating, which meant he was afraid. Arden stood at the head of the executive conference table as the board assembled, her presence colder than ever. I took the seat to her right. Not behind. Not peripheral. Visible. The room noticed. Halvern entered last, composure immaculate. Only the faint tightening at the corner of his eyes betrayed strain. Your Majesty, he greeted smoothly. I trust this emergency has clarity. It will, Arden replied. She gestured to me. The room shifted, attention aligning like iron filings to magnetism. This, she said evenly, is Lyra Valthera. Silence detonated. Shock rippled across familiar faces. Men and women who had signed asset absorption contracts 8 years ago under the assumption there was no heir left to contest them. Halvern did not react outwardly, but his knuckles whitened briefly against the table. Extraordinary claim, one board member finally said. What verification do we have? I placed the signet ring on the table. Then a biometric reader. Dual authentication requires living lineage, I said calmly. Mine will suffice to initiate provisional restoration. Halvern leaned back slightly. Provisional implies uncertainty. It implies legality, I corrected. Arden's gaze flicked to him. Director Halvern, you previously expressed concern over potential succession anomalies. His smile was tight. Caution is prudent. Indeed, Arden said. Which is why we'll address them transparently. I pressed my thumb to the reader. The device pulsed. Green. Crescent Dominion primary heir confirmed. A murmur swept the room. Halvern's voice remained smooth. Biometrics can be manipulated. Yes, I agreed. Which is why this authentication also activates the dormant emergency archive. The lights dimmed as a second system initiated, one I had rebuilt painstakingly from fractured backups. Screens flickered to life around the room. Financial trails. Communication logs. Emergency directives time-stamped the night of the attack. Halvern's face remained composed, but sweat glistened faintly at his temple. You're presenting chaos, he said coolly. Not causation. Patience, I replied. A final file opened. Authorization override. Director Marcus Halvern. Timestamp. 4 hours before coordinated infrastructure failure. The room went utterly still. Arden did not look at the screen. She looked at him. Explain, she said softly. Halvern exhaled once through his nose. Context is critical. That override was protective. It disabled perimeter security, I said, to prevent hostile infiltration. It allowed it. Murmurs rose. He pivoted instantly. And yet Vale Industries survived. There it was. The implication. Selective collapse. Arden's voice sharpened. Clarify. Halvern's gaze shifted between us. Crescent was hemorrhaging. The alliance was weakening Vale. Strategic separation was inevitable. You orchestrated slaughter, I said evenly. I orchestrated preservation. Of yourself, Arden replied. He leaned forward, abandoning subtlety. Without decisive action, both empires would have fallen. I ensured one survived. And the other? I asked. Collateral. The word shattered whatever restraint remained in the room. Arden stood slowly. You gambled with lives. I secured legacy. You secured control, she said coldly. He rose as well, composure fracturing for the first time. I did what leadership required. No, I said quietly. You did what ambition demanded. Security personnel stepped forward at Arden's subtle signal. Harvan's gaze snapped to me. No longer smooth, no longer patient. You think this restores you, he hissed. You were a child playing sovereign. And you were an advisor playing king, I replied. He laughed sharply. You have no idea what it cost to keep your father alive. The room froze. Arden's breath caught audibly. My pulse did not. You just confirmed he is, I said. Halvern realized too late. Rage twisted his expression. You baited me. Yes. Arden's voice turned lethal. Where is he? Harvan's silence spoke volumes. Security closed in. You need me, he said quickly. Only I know the holding channels. Arden stepped closer, eyes like glacial steel. You lost the right to negotiation 8 years ago. He smiled thinly. Kill me, and you lose him. The contrast could not have been sharper, the composed Alpha Queen and the cornered architect of betrayal. Arden's gaze flicked to me. Choice. Execute. Or leverage. Detain him, I said calmly. He laughed again. You think detainment can contain what I built? We don't need containment, Arden replied. We need confession. His smile faltered. Arden turned to the board. You have witnessed admission of unauthorized override and operational misconduct. Several members nodded grimly. Effective immediately, she continued. Director Halvern is suspended pending criminal inquiry. Security seized him. As they escorted him toward the exit, he twisted to look at me one last time. You'll never find him in time, he said. The doors closed. Silence fell heavy. Arden remained standing, shoulders rigid. He's alive, she whispered. Yes. Hope, once declared inefficient, now burned openly in her eyes. The board began murmuring about legal teams and damage control. Arden silenced them with a raised hand. This session is adjourned. They filed out slowly, shaken. When the room emptied, it was just us. 8 years ago, we had lost everything in a single night. Now we had reclaimed truth in a single hour. Arden turned to me. You knew he'd slip, she said. Yes. You risked hearing it. I needed certainty. Emotion flickered across her face. Grief, fury, relief intertwined. We will find him, she said. Yes. And when we do, I met her gaze steadily. We rebuild. Not Crescent alone. Not Vale alone. Something stronger. The cold Alpha Queen had claimed her Omega. But today, the lost Heiress claimed her throne. And the war that began in fire was far from over. Halvern did not break easily. Detainment within Vale's secured holding facility bought us time, not answers. He invoked legal counsel within hours, attempted to reframe his confession as misinterpreted strategy, and demanded negotiation in exchange for sensitive intelligence. But fear had cracked him. And fear leaves patterns. Arden stood in the observation room above the holding chamber, arms folded, watching him pace below. He won't talk without leverage, she said. He already gave us leverage, I replied. She glanced at me. Your father? Yes. Saying it aloud still felt surreal. For 8 years, hope had been a liability. Now it was a direction. We traced the financial channels he used to maintain the holding site, I continued, projecting a map of shell corporations across the glass. They converge offshore, but supply routes indicate physical infrastructure inland. Remote, Arden murmured. Isolated. Controlled. She studied the terrain layout. He would keep him somewhere symbolically irrelevant. Not tied to Crescent. Agreed. And secure enough to move quickly if exposed. I highlighted a cluster. There. She leaned closer. A decommissioned research facility, I explained. Owned through 3 intermediaries linked to Haven's private trust. Her jaw tightened. You've already dispatched scouts? Yes. Without telling me. I met her gaze steadily. You were handling the board. A beat passed. Next time, she said evenly, we move simultaneously. Agreed. Partnership was not instinct yet. It was practice. A secure ping interrupted us. Field report incoming. I opened the channel. Perimeter confirms active power grid, the operative reported. Minimal external security. Interior unknown. Arden's posture shifted instantly. No longer CEO, but commander. We move now, she said. Within 40 minutes, a convoy cut through the outskirts beyond city jurisdiction. Night cloaked the landscape in shadow and tension. The facility emerged from darkness. Concrete, windowless, forgotten by design. Contrast lingered everywhere. Once, we had ruled from glass towers and manicured estates. Now we approached truth through rusted gates and silent earth. Arden exited first. I followed. No heroics, she said quietly. Same to you. A flicker of almost smile. Security teams breached the outer doors swiftly. Minimal resistance, just 2 hired guards who surrendered at the first sign of overwhelming force. Inside, the air smelled sterile and stale. Long corridors. Reinforced doors. Halvern had not trusted easily. We moved deeper. At the final security barrier, I felt it, an instinct I couldn't explain. Not fear. Not certainty. Connection. The biometric lock required dual authorization. Arden looked at me. This may be another trap, she said. Yes. Ready. Yes. We pressed our palms simultaneously against the reader. It flashed red. Secondary authentication required. The system intoned. A retinal scan panel illuminated. Arden frowned. That's not standard. No, I whispered. The panel blinked again. Awaiting Valthera executive clearance. My breath caught. He designed it to require me. Not Halvern. Not random security. Me. He expected this, Arden said quietly. Yes. Or he wanted you here. I stepped forward. Lyra. If this is a trap, it's keyed to my hesitation. I leaned into the scanner. A thin beam swept across my eye. Processing. Time elongated. Then. Access granted. The door unlocked with a heavy mechanical release. We entered together. The room beyond was dim but clean. Monitors lined one wall. Medical equipment hummed softly. And in the center, a man sat restrained but conscious. Older. Thinner. But unmistakable. My father. For a moment, I couldn't move. 8 years collapsed into a single heartbeat. He looked up slowly as the door opened fully. Recognition dawned gradually across his face. Lyra. His voice was hoarse but real. Emotion surged so violently I had to grip the doorframe. I'm here, I whispered. Arden remained slightly behind me, not distant, but giving space to something sacred. My father tried to stand, but restraints held him. Arden stepped forward, disengaging them swiftly. He rose unsteadily. I closed the distance. For 8 years I had rehearsed what I might say if this moment ever came. None of it survived contact with reality. He cupped my face with trembling hands. "You lived," he breathed. "So did you." His eyes shifted briefly to Arden. "Vale," he said quietly. She inclined her head respectfully. "Sir." "You protected her?" he asked. "I failed her once," Arden replied steadily. "I won't again." He studied her for a long moment, then nodded faintly. "Halvern?" he asked. "Detained," I said. A shadow crossed his expression. He believed control was salvation. "He admitted override," Arden added. My father exhaled slowly. He always mistook preservation for possession. The truth of that echoed sharply. "We need to move," Arden said gently. "This site may not remain secure." My father nodded. As we escorted him out, I glanced back at the room. 8 years of stolen time contained within sterile walls. Contrast again. While we rebuilt empires, he survived in silence. Outside, night air felt sharper, cleaner. As the convoy departed, I sat beside my father in the rear vehicle. Arden sat opposite us, watchful but quiet. "You grew," my father murmured, studying me. "I adapted." His eyes shifted briefly to Arden again. "And you chose well," he said. Arden's composure flickered. "We chose each other," I replied softly. The words settled between us. By dawn, we were back inside Vale's secure residence. Medical teams assessed my father while legal teams prepared documentation to formalize his survival publicly. Harvan's final leverage had dissolved. In the quiet hallway outside the medical suite, Arden and I stood alone. "It's over," she said. "No," I replied. She studied me. "It's beginning." Public revelation would fracture alliances. Governments would question 8-year-old rulings. Asset transfers would be contested. War had shifted arenas. But this time, we stood armed with truth, and each other. "You once said I belonged to you," I murmured. A faint, rueful smile touched her lips. "I was wrong." "Yes," I said softly. "You were." She stepped closer, not claiming, not commanding. Choosing. "I don't want possession," she said. "I want partnership." I reached for her hand. "You have it." Behind us, a door opened as my father's condition stabilized. Ahead of us, a world waited to learn that Crescent had not fallen. The cold Alpha Queen had claimed an Omega. But what she truly gained was an equal who refused to burn quietly. And together, we would rebuild not from ashes, but from truth. News of my father's survival broke at noon. Not leaked. Not speculated. Announced. Vale Industries and Crescent Dominion issued a joint declaration restoring executive authority to the Valthera line and confirming criminal proceedings against Marcus Halvern for orchestrated sabotage, unlawful detention, and financial conspiracy. The press called it resurrection. Markets called it instability. Political rivals called it opportunity. Contrast defined the headlines. The cold Alpha Queen aligns with lost Heiress. Omega no more. Valthera returns. Power consolidates under dual sovereigns. Inside Vale Tower, however, the mood was not triumphant. It was measured. Controlled. Strategic. My father stood at the head of the temporary council chamber, thinner but unbroken, his presence still commanding in quiet ways that did not require raised voices. Arden stood to his right. I stood to his left. Not hidden. Not symbolic. Structural. "The board will fracture," my father said calmly. "Some will fear shared authority." "Shared authority implies balance," Arden replied. "Balance frightens those who benefited from imbalance." I watched the city skyline beyond the glass, once distant, now reclaimed. "Halvern built contingencies," I said. "We dismantled his primary leverage, but not his entire network." My father nodded faintly. He was never alone. Arden's gaze sharpened. Names. Indirectly funded. Quietly placed. Loyal to preservation rhetoric. In other words, I said, those who believed sacrificing Crescent stabilized Vale. Silence acknowledged the uncomfortable truth. Arden had rebuilt Vale under pressure. Some decisions had been made quickly. Some alliances accepted without full visibility. Not out of malice. Out of survival. Contrast again. Intent versus outcome. We address them openly, Arden said at last. No more shadows. Transparency as weapon. My father studied her for a long moment. You have changed, he observed. I had to. And yet you preserved what was ours. I preserved what was hers, Arden corrected, glancing at me. Something unspoken passed between the older and younger sovereigns then, an understanding forged not by contracts but by endurance. Then we proceed together, my father said. That word again. Together. By evening, a public forum was scheduled. Analysts, investors, political envoys. No secrecy. No curated narrative beyond truth. Standing backstage before the address, I felt the weight of 8 stolen years pressing against the moment. Arden stepped beside me. Nervous? She asked quietly. No. She raised a brow. Focused? I amended. A faint smile. You always did prefer control to comfort. And you preferred control to vulnerability. She exhaled softly. I'm learning. So am I. The moderator announced us. We stepped onto the stage side by side. Light flooded the platform. Cameras adjusted. Murmurs stilled. My father spoke first, measured, factual, recounting survival and unlawful detainment without dramatics. He did not beg sympathy. He stated reality. Then Arden addressed the override authorization, her voice steady and unflinching. I was young, she said. Grieving. Surrounded by advisors I believed loyal. I failed to see manipulation embedded within urgency. That failure cost lives. The room shifted, not expecting admission. But I did not fail to remember who we were allied with, she continued. Crescent was not competition. It was partnership. Then she turned slightly toward me. And Lyra Valthera was never collateral. The words settled deeply. When it was my turn, I stepped forward. For 8 years, I survived quietly because noise would have killed me, I said. Today, silence would. Cameras flashed. I stand not as victim, I continued, but as heir. Not to reclaim dominance, but to restore balance. A pause. Halvern argued that consolidation ensured survival. He was wrong. Collaboration ensures survival. Contrast sharpened the message. Control versus trust. Fear versus alliance. Possession versus partnership. We will rebuild Crescent Dominion not as a rival to Vale Industries, I finished, but as its equal. The room erupted, not chaotic, but charged. Questions followed. Hard ones. About oversight. About governance. About what dual leadership meant. We answered each deliberately. Not deflecting. Not posturing. Transparent strength unsettles those accustomed to opacity. When the forum ended, markets stabilized faster than predicted. Investors prefer clarity to rumor. But not everyone was appeased. That night, intelligence flagged encrypted chatter, Harvan's secondary allies probing for fracture points. He expected revenge, Arden said as we reviewed the intercepts in her office. Not reform. He doesn't understand partnership, I replied. He understands leverage. Then we remove it. She looked at me. How? By eliminating secrecy. Within 48 hours, we declassified non-sensitive archival material related to the collapse. Not operational vulnerabilities, but enough to expose patterns of concentrated influence. Names surfaced. Not criminal. Complicit. Board members resigned quietly. Others requested audits. Pressure dissolved networks more efficiently than arrests ever could. Harvan's myth of necessary ruthlessness began to erode publicly. Contrast once more, his empire of shadows shrinking beneath daylight. 3 days later, I stood alone in the restored Crescent Garden courtyard, a section Arden had preserved untouched within Vale's private grounds. The same oak tree still stood. Older. Stronger. Arden joined me without announcement. "You kept this," I said. "Yes." "Why?" She looked up at the branches. "Because it was the last place I saw you laugh." Emotion flickered, softer now, less volatile. "We were children," I murmured. "We were strategists," she corrected gently. A small smile curved my lips. "And now?" I asked. "Now we are sovereigns. Not ruler and subject. Not alpha and omega. Equal." She stepped closer, not commanding, not claiming. "Do you regret coming back?" she asked. "No. Do you regret letting me think you were gone?" A beat passed. "Yes." Honesty felt cleaner than strategy here. She nodded once. "I regret claiming you before knowing you," she said. "You knew me," I replied softly. "You just didn't know I survived." The distinction mattered. Wind moved lightly through the courtyard, carrying the faint scent of cedar and summer. "You once told me you would rule beside me," she said. "I meant it." "And now?" I turned to face her fully. "Now we do. No theatrics. No kneeling. No claiming. Just choice." Behind us, Vale Tower and the restored Crescent Wing stood connected by glass corridors. Distinct structures joined intentionally. Not merged into sameness. Linked in balance. The cold Alpha Queen had once believed power meant holding tighter than anyone else. The lost Heiress had once believed survival meant disappearing entirely. Both were wrong. Power shared endures longer. And survival without voice is only delay. Together, we had rewritten both. Power settles differently once it is no longer being chased. Weeks passed without explosion. No dramatic coups. No last-minute betrayals clawing at the edges of our control. Instead, there was restructuring, steady, deliberate, almost surgical. Crescent Dominion reopened its primary trade channels under transparent oversight. Vale Industries reallocated controlling shares to reflect formal alliance rather than quiet absorption. Analysts stopped using the word takeover and began using the word union. Contrast remained, but it no longer divided us. It defined our strengths. Arden excelled at decisive enforcement. I excelled at anticipatory design. My father, restored but choosing partial retirement, advised without overshadowing. What had once been two empires competing for altitude became two pillars holding the same weight. Harvan's trial began under full media scrutiny. He stood in a courtroom stripped of the aura he once wore so easily. No polished boardroom table. No deferential adjutants. Just evidence, time-stamped, authenticated, undeniable. When asked why he authorized the override that disabled Crescent's perimeter defenses, he did not deny it. "I made the necessary decision," he said. Necessary. The word echoed against testimony from families who lost security personnel that night. Against financial records showing selective asset shielding. Against the quiet footage of a young heiress declared dead without a recovered body. Contrast sharpened guilt into clarity. Arden was called to testify. She did not flinch. "I was 23, she said evenly. Grieving. Angry. Surrounded by advisors who framed urgency as survival. I believed consolidation would prevent further collapse. I did not authorize sabotage. But I accept that my inexperience allowed it to go unquestioned." There was no tremor in her voice. Only accountability. When I took the stand, The courtroom felt smaller than any boardroom we had faced. "Why remain hidden for 8 years?" the prosecutor asked. "Because exposure without leverage would have resulted in my death," I replied calmly. "And why reveal yourself now?" "Because truth without action is surrender." Halvern watched me as though searching for the frightened girl he once dismissed. She was gone. Verdict came swiftly. Guilty on all major counts. He did not look surprised. As he was escorted out, he paused just long enough to look back at us. "You think this changes power?" he said quietly. "It already has," I answered. He shook his head faintly. "Power consolidates." "Not anymore," Arden replied. The doors closed behind him. And for the first time in 8 years, the chapter that began in fire felt fully confronted. But closure is not the same as completion. That evening, Vale Tower hosted a private ceremony. Not a spectacle, not a coronation, but a formal ratification of the Crescent Vale Alliance Charter. Legal scholars, trade representatives, regional leaders attended. No dramatic theatrics. Just signatures. Arden signed first in silver ink. I signed beside her. Equal weight. Equal authority. Equal accountability. The document did not merge our names into one. It linked them with intention. After the final seal was placed, applause filled the chamber, not thunderous, but sustained. Respect, not fear. Later, when the hall emptied and only city lights remained beyond the glass, Arden and I stood alone at the balcony overlooking Erindale. "It's quieter than I expected," she said. "Stability is quiet," I replied. She rested her hands lightly against the railing. "For years, I thought strength meant never bending. And now I know it means knowing when to stand beside someone instead of in front of them." I studied her profile, the same sharp lines that once intimidated boardrooms, softened now by something steadier than dominance. "You never truly wanted an Omega," I said gently. Her lips curved faintly. "No. You wanted loyalty." "Yes." "You wanted someone who understood what it cost to lead." "Yes." "And you thought claiming me would guarantee that." She exhaled softly. "I was wrong." "You weren't entirely wrong," I said. "You just misidentified the dynamic." She turned toward me fully. "And what is the dynamic?" "Choice. Not instinct. Not hierarchy. Choice." Wind moved between us, carrying the hum of a city no longer divided by whispered conspiracies. "When I thought you were gone," she said quietly, "I hardened everything. I convinced myself attachment was inefficiency. And now I understand its architecture." I stepped closer. "We were never meant to rule alone," I said. "No," she agreed. Silence settled comfortably. Not tense. Not uncertain. Just shared. "You know," she added after a moment, "the media still calls me the cold alpha queen. And me your Omega." A flicker of amusement warmed her eyes. "Does that bother you?" "No," I said honestly. "Let them misunderstand. Titles are convenient shortcuts. Reality is more complex." "And what is our reality?" I considered the skyline, the glass corridors connecting once separate towers, the trade ships moving steadily along distant docks, the absence of smoke where flames once consumed everything. "Our reality," I said slowly, "is that you didn't claim me." She raised a brow. "I walked back into your empire knowing exactly who I was," I continued. "You didn't make me powerful. You recognized that I already was." Her gaze softened. "And you," I added, "were never cold. Just grieving." A quiet beat. Then she reached for my hand, not as possession, as equilibrium. "When you stepped into that elevator weeks ago," she said, "something in me recognized you before I understood why." "I know. You met my gaze." "I always did." A faint laugh escaped her. The board thought I claimed an omega. And the city thought you gained a subordinate. She laced her fingers with mine. They were wrong. Yes. Because what truly happened was simpler and far more disruptive. A queen found her equal. An heiress reclaimed her name. And instead of devouring one another in a contest of dominance, they chose alignment. Below us, the city continued, unaware of how close it once came to permanent imbalance. I don't need to claim you, Arden said quietly. You never did. She squeezed my hand once. Stay beside me. It was not an order. It was not a plea. It was invitation. I looked out over everything we had rebuilt from ash and silence. I was always going to, I replied. The cold Alpha Queen claimed an omega. That was the story they would tell. But the truth, the quieter, stronger truth, was this. She never claimed me. We chose each other. And together, we turned survival into sovereignty.